Hey everyone, my name is Victor Dwyer, and today I'm going to show you how to connect Amazon data into Google Data Studio and Google Sheets. Because today I'm going to show you how to automatically get all that data in a nice, easy way into Google Sheets and Google Data Studio. And we're going to do that using Power My Analytics. And let's dive right into it. So this is what we use. Think about Power My Analytics as the midpoint between Amazon and Google Data Studio and Google Sheets. They're going to be the ones that are sending that Amazon data into Google Sheets and Google Data Studio. So that just think about them like that. You can try them out. You can try it as a free trial, but this is what we're going to use to kind of connect these data sources. Before we dive into Power My Analytics, we're actually going to sign into the Amazon account because this is going to be a very important process to pick out what account you want to choose. So if you're like me, you have 20 different accounts. And because if you're managing multiple accounts, you need to know which account you're actually connecting. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my account right now. I'm going to put in my OTP. And what I want you to do is I want you to navigate to what account you're going to be managing and actually connecting within this. You can actually go ahead and connect it. So what you can do is you can actually navigate to the top here and you can select what account you want to manage and pick out what account you want to manage here and select it. And it's very important that you select it before you connect it. Okay? So that's a very, very important process within this. Select it first and then connect it to Power My Analytics. So once you are signed into the account that you want to connect, then you can go over and sign into Power My Analytics. You can create your account from there, and then you'll see a screen similar to this. It'll be where you can connect your sources. You can press New Data Source right here, and it might look a little bit different from what it is because they change their interface all the time, but it's going to be similar to this. There will be a New Data Source button of some kind, and you will click it, something like this. And we're going to navigate to Amazon MWS. I'm going to press United States. And the name is anything to help you out. In this case, I'm going to call it Greek Internet Market. Greek Internet Market. And I'm going to do US, so that way I know it's a US data source here, so that way it helps me out. So I'm going to press Connect, and it's just opening on another screen, and you're basically just going to press Accept, basically. And if you see something that says you don't have the permissions to do it, that means you must have the admin permissions to actually fulfill that request, is what that means. If it says you don't have permissions, but it should say, do you want to connect it? You press the button to connect, and that's basically all it pops up as. From there, so we have multiple options. So we're gonna connect the data source, Data Studio first, and start there. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to navigate over to the Google Data Studio section in the reports. You can go to Amazon MWS, and then I'm just going to press no to all this. And then from there, you'll be in MWS from Power My Analytics. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just change the data source name. So I usually make it the same. You don't have to, so I'm going to call it Greek Internet Market US. So that way I know what it is. And I'm going to press Authorize. And you basically authorize to Google Data Studio. Sometimes you have to click it in twice. It's okay. And then you're going to allow Power My Analytics. Okay. And now I'm going to authorize the MWS access from Power My Analytics. Success. Perfect. And now you just keep pressing Authorize, and eventually it'll pop up. So I'm going to select Victor Dwyer's Hub right here. I'm going to press Next. And then the user account, I'm going to do Greek Internet Market. Next. Okay. And then from here, this is basically, the only reason you would have to change this is if you have a different method of reporting. So some people report on shipped, or they report only on purchased orders, on certain types of aspects if you only report off a certain way. I never select this. Like, I really don't. If a client comes to me and says, hey, I only want to report on shipped orders, then we can do that. But I never select this because it will sometimes mess with the data. So I usually just don't select anything here. And I can allow optional filter size so that way I can change this in the future. So I usually don't select anything there. If you have a specific way to do your reporting, do that. Okay? And so from there, I'm going to make sure this is checkmarked because this will be a important template in the future. So I'm going to connect. Allow. Okay, and then you'll be directed to a screen like this. This is where you can just see all the fields and everything else, and you can get more information about what potential variables that you can actually input. But usually these are a little bit too complicated. Usually I just work off the templates. Okay, so what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to click this icon in the top left, and here I'm going to navigate to reports, and you're going to see this little thing right here that, you know, that template check mark that we did. Power My Analytics actually gives us a template that we can use for Amazon MWS, and we're going to use that dashboard. So you can actually utilize this dashboard right out of the gate, which is amazing. So right now this has all the trial data in it right now. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to make a copy of this. So we're going to click that three dots. We're going to say make a copy. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over to that Greek US market data source right here, and we're going to press copy report. I'm going to press edit. I'm going to change the name of the dashboard. I'm going to call this Greek Internet Market Dashboard. Okay, and then from there, you'll be able to see all this data. So right out of the gate, it's already connected. So like you can already see all the data. You can see what states are getting the most orders. You can see what countries potentially are getting the most once you connect all the data sources in. And you'll be able to see what product is getting the most orders and things like that. And you'll be able to change this around. You can bulk select things, change it around however you want. You can change the colors to your brand. I usually delete this stuff because I don't find it valuable. Then it starts creating an actual dashboard that is useful to you. So luckily Power My Analytics is amazing because they do all these fancy fancy reports, and they're all broken up in pages. And what I like to do is I work off the template and I go and build my own. And that way I can kind of expand upon it and kind of work off of it from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this overview dashboard and I'm going to kind of change it up. I'm going to make it useful to me, and because every business is different. So I'm going to show you how to actually edit this dashboard to make it useful for you, and take the data points that you want and put it all on one page, so that way you don't have to navigate to all these different pages, because that can be annoying for a lot of people. So let me show you how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to the current page settings, and then I'm going to go to style, and then I'm going to go to the height of the page. I'm going to do 3000. Okay. So what that does is it's going to actually increase the length of the page. So instead of navigating to all the other pages, that way you only have one page to deal with. I'm going to press X there, and I'm actually going to delete these sections here, so that way I have a little bit more space. So I usually like this. This is very valuable. So that way I can know what orders and things like that, and I can change the date range right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to these other pages that I might find valuable. So I'm going to click here, orders report. This is kind of helpful if you are wanting a little bit more granular data to see what may be pending, what issues are still not shipped. I usually don't use this. This is a little bit too granular for me. I will never use this. Product sales dashboard. This will be useful to know what products are doing the best. I like this dashboard. I like this data is important to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control C right now. And when I press Control C, I'm actually going to navigate back to that original page, and I'm going to press Control V. And then I'm going to slide this down. Okay? Just like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull in a text right here. I'm going to insert. I'm going to press text. And I'm going to put some text here. And I'm going to say sales by product, or sales by SKU. And I'll do product sales. Product sales. Perfect. And I'm going to make that a little bit bigger so that way people can actually see it. Perfect. So something like that. And I'm going to bold it. Perfect. So now you can actually, this is usually useful for people to see, like, okay, what are my top selling products? How much have they sold? And things like that. That's helpful to me. That's helpful for me to know. So we're in the process of creating our perfect dashboard right now. And then these are ASIN sales. So depending on how you work, you can build this off by ASIN. You can build it off by SKU, whatever kind of works best for you. Inventory report, I find this valuable. So that way I know what's still in shipping, what's not, what has low inventory, what do I need to be fulfilling, what's in the process, what is the stage of that is in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this one because I find this valuable. And I'm going to, this template will be available to you. I'm going to put this in the description below of the one I built. And you can either edit off the one I built, or you can do exactly what I'm doing and editing what's valuable to you. but I'm doing it based off, I work with a lot of sellers and I know what's valuable to them information wise. So I'm able to build this out for them and know what's going to be valuable to them. So you're welcome to use my dashboard or you're welcome to build off your own. And I'm going to say inventory report. Okay, I'm actually going to move this at the bottom, and I'm going to explain that in a couple of minutes. Okay, cool. Now let's navigate to the other pages. What else is going to be valuable for us? Manage FBA inventory excess. This might be valuable too, to know how much days of supply you actually have, and if it's low days of supply, you can actually look at this. I'm not going to include it because that's kind of what the inventory does, but this might be valuable to you as well. FBA returns. I'm going to do this because this is actually going to be important. This will at least call out like, hey, are you having a lot of products that are not being fulfilled correctly? Are a lot of people getting it late? Like, these are going to be metrics that I want to stay on top of, so I'm actually going to include them here. And I'm actually going to increase the page length. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go to current page settings, and I'm going to make this 4,000 because this is going to be an awesome dashboard. I can already tell. So I'm going to go that. And that way you can kind of just see what trends are, what are the reasons that customers are returning. So that way you can have that built for you. Okay. And let's take a look at the reimbursement report. And you can kind of see what items have been reimbursed. I'm not going to put that in, but you might want to if you want to. The fee preview reports. This will be helpful if you have a lot of fees. I usually just sum up the fee reporting. So we'll get to that one in a second. FBA and FBM referral fees. This might be helpful if you are kind of trying to see the fees on the overall product and seeing that. And then this is the overall inventory on your FBM side of things. So I'm going to go ahead and include that because what we had before was the FBA inventory report, and I'm going to include the FBM inventory report. I believe so. Yeah, I believe all this is FBA. I'm 90% sure that all this is FBA. So I'm going to put FBA inventory report, and I'm going to have an FBM inventory report in here. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller just so that way I can have a little bit more room in here. Okay, and then I'm going to title this over here, FBM inventory report. Perfect. And then after that, take a look at this one more time. Neutral and negative seller feedback. This might be helpful if you're having a lot of negative feedback and you want to kind of stay on top of it. This will be valuable for you, but I'm not gonna add those in. And then this is overall fees reporting. I find this valuable. I really do. I see like, okay, what are we paying overall, and seeing what is our overall cost on the Amazon account. I find this valuable, so I'm gonna actually put that in. Okay, so I wanted to include a midpoint here, and I'm going to show you why. So let me go ahead and add this in. So there's actually one report that we actually did not get within this that I actually wanted. So there's one part of this that almost every seller likes to see on Amazon, and I'm gonna create that right now. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna take all this and I'm gonna move it down. Okay, so usually as a seller, there's one metric that you care about the most, whether if that's revenue, whether if that's the amount of orders per day. There's one of those metrics you really care about, and that's what I put in this one right here. So usually sellers come to me and say, Victor, I want to increase overall revenue. So usually I make this as the master revenue per day to see what is the best revenue one. So all I did was I pressed copied and paste right there. Pretty simple stuff, and I'm gonna increase the scale of it. Okay, and so from there, I'm going to make it big. I'm going to make this the majority one. I'm going to go up to style, and then from there, I'm going to press show axes, and then I'm going to go show axis title. Okay, so now that we know it's orders total revenue, and then this is the date at the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and show the grid lines. Okay, so just like that. So I went ahead and added the grid lines. And then I added the sales by day. I just basically added all the sales and overall day by day data. So that way you can kind of go in this and you can kind of see, okay, on January 1st, we had a huge spike in sales. So we went from literally like almost no sales during December 24th through 30th, basically. And then all of a sudden we saw a spike in sales, and that's very normal, by the way. The week after Christmas is basically dead because everyone's on holidays. But basically, you'll be able to see if there's any spike in here, and you'll be able to see, like, okay, we had a huge spike on that sale. Why did that happen? That is what this dashboard is for, guys. It's for to see, go in your data and see, okay, there's something that I need to do and look at because something big happened either on that day or there's something that needs to happen to be executed on next. This is what we call an actionable dashboard. We can get you all the data and where you just don't know anything what's going on, but this is where I want to change that. I want to have an actionable dashboard here that you will actually use. And that is why we are building it like this, and this is why I want to show you how to build it, so that way this is the actionable for you. That's the reason why I'm making it like this. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste this right here, okay? And I'm going to say sales revenue by day. Please keep in mind, I am not a graphic designer. I am horrible at all this stuff. I just make it actionable for me, so it looks like at least somewhat decent. So that way, this is basically overall pretty good. So we have the sales. This way you can see all your orders information based on this date range. You can see what particular sales they are doing well, what country, what region is having a lot. You can see, okay, Illinois is just absolutely, Illinois and Pennsylvania are just going crazy. You can see what sales are getting the most traction. Is it your Amazon FBA or is it your merchant fulfilled are getting the most sales? You can see what particular product, oh, it looks like others, but that's not as helpful. This part comes into play. You can see, okay, the fisherman's cap black size 60 gets a ton of sales, and you'll be able to see all that data very easily, and so that way you can see now you are getting a lot of sales there and what products are doing well from here. You can see the revenue, the amount sold, the fees, and everything else. And so this is where I want to get into a little bit more. I know I said that it really isn't important to do the graphic design aspect, but it's important to do things called brain breaks, meaning that if you put too many charts, too many numbers in one place, your brain is going to zone out. If I put 3,000 numbers on the screen, your brain is going to start tuning out. It's going to go, that's too intense. I don't know what to do. This is where I call brain breaks. And that's what I'm going to implement right now. So I'm going to take a normal rectangle, okay? And I'm going to cover this rectangle with this chart, okay? And then I'm going to put it in the back, order, send to back, and then I'm going to just make it a different color. Okay, so I just went ahead with a black rectangle. And what this is going to do, it's going to create differentiation within the dashboard to kind of bring your eye and attract your eye in different aspects. If we put 20 versions of the same chart too close together, so these are all table charts, okay? And they're all very close to each other. Normally, I would put a break in between these to make it where that this doesn't necessarily happen. So kind of scroll through this, and you see how it's kind of very bland with there's too many of the same chart here. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to move all this down, and then I'm going to move this up so I can select this easier. And then I'm going to bring these charts in the middle to provide a little bit of more of a brain break. It's important to give it some room because you don't want it to be too jam-packed together. Okay, so what I did is I'm moving this down now to give it a little bit more room, a little bit more space there. So after doing that, now we are able to implement a little bit more of a brain break and have a little bit differentiation within our charts. So now when we scroll down, we can see, okay, we have a little bit of a different boxes here, okay, with different colors and things like that. And you'll be able to see, okay, sales revenue by day. And now we have a different set of charts that attract the eye. So you're going to say, okay, sales by region. Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay. And then we start getting into tables. Tables are the most boring thing in eye to look at. Let's be honest. But you'll be able to say, okay, sales by SKU. And so then we have another brain break here by putting another chart, another color on the background to kind of bring the eye and attract it a little bit. And now we have a different set of charts that is going to be different for the eye to look at to make it a little bit more attractive, so that way your dashboard's a little bit more engaging. And then you get to the FBA reports, and this is the most boring thing for an eye to look at, so you can add some color here if you want to. If you want to make it a little bit more attractive on that side of things, what you can do is you can actually go to Style, and you can go to the very last column, and instead of number, you can do a heat map. And then from there, you can make it like a bright color if you want. You can make it like red if it's that important to you. It's really important that you make this dashboard very engaging for yourself, because you should not be bored looking through your dashboard. You should be going through, analyzing it, seeing what you need to look at next, so that way it's actionable in some way, so that way you know what you need to do next for whatever your strategy is on your Amazon account. So this is your customized dashboard. I will have this dashboard template within the link below that you can make a copy of, but this is it, guys. Like, it's that simple. You can put your business name here. I can make this pretty. I can put my Greek internet market logo here, and like you can make this however you want. But it's that easy, guys. That's how you end up making the dashboard, and you can make it very pretty for yourself. That's basically how it works. And now you have your fully customized dashboard, and that way you can kind of work off of it and kind of go from there. So that should provide a lot of value for you and what you want to do, and you'll be able to change it up however you want and kind of go from there. Okay, now we're going to move on to Google Sheets. So we created the dashboard for your Google Data Studio, but if you are a Google Sheets person like myself, I like Google Sheets because you're able to just kind of see the data in a different way, and you can kind of start doing a little bit more reports and kind of automating them that way. So let's go ahead and dive into Google Sheets now. So going here, I'm going to go to my drive, and I'm just going to start creating a new sheet. I'm going to call this Google Sheet Greek Internet Market Master Sheet. Greek Internet Master Sheet. Okay? And then I'm going to go hover over to Extensions, Add-ons, press Get Add-ons. I'm going to go to Power My Analytics right here. Power My Analytics, click on that. Individuals install. Perfect, it's been installed. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and refresh. Extensions, add-ons, manage add-ons. Okay, now right here, you see where it says Power My Analytics. I'm going to press Login. Login successful. And now I'm going to press refresh. Okay, so from there, you can press Extensions, Power My Analytics, Show Sidebar. Okay, once you press Show Sidebar, by the way, Power My Analytics has the best Google Sheet builder I have ever used. Like, I've used like 30 different extensions for Power My Analytics, or for different tools with Google Sheet builders. This is by far the best. I'm going to show you why. So I'm going to press Add Report, and you can add all these different types of data here, but I'm going to press Amazon and WS, and you can do this as basically depending on how you do your reporting. So if you are only reporting on the actual shipped, then that works. But usually I don't worry about it, and I just have everything selected, so I don't select anything here. So that just depends on your reporting type. Date range, that can depend on some things. I usually do a custom start to date, or like a custom start to yesterday. And the reason why I do that is I'm going to actually pivot the data and aggregate the data. So I'm going to have a data pool sheet that has all the data in it, and then I can organize it from there. And I'll show you exactly what that means. That sounds complicated. It's very easy. So I'm going to go back to whatever, November 1st. Why not? And I'm going to press that. And then I'm going to go to dimension. All right, let's just click there. And so this is the most sellers are going to want these type of sheets where they can see the date of the product, the date it was purchased, and the order. The total order. I'm going to do order total, and I'm going to do quantity, is how it's defined. And then the quantity of the amount, basically the quantity of the item ordered, and then the order total, the revenue, almost the revenue of it. And then the item name. There it is, product name. Okay, I'm going to press set field, and then you can set conditions if you want. This is if you want to get a little bit, only if you want certain products in there. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to order by date. Limit, I always set this to max. I wouldn't worry about this. I always remove show report header. Okay? And the reason why is because if it's a complicated thing, you always want your top of row column to be the actual column header. You always want row 1. Long story, that's what you want it to be. Believe me. So I'm going to call this Amazon order by date. And you don't have to organize this. You can just press create report. Okay? And so what's going to happen, it's going to go to Amazon, and it's going to pull in all this information, and it's going to automatically upload this data. So now I'm able to see on what particular day was a product ordered, okay? So it'll basically, for this particular day, you'll be able to see, okay, how many were ordered on this day, how many was ordered total for each particular product on a certain day. This is what is probably the most valuable thing to a lot of sellers, to find this type of data, and you can have this all in within one sheet. And I'm going to call this the order data pool sheet. You don't have to name it. This is just preference. So, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to aggregate this data to kind of make it a little bit more useful for you. Okay? And data aggregation it sounds complicated. It's very, very easy. It's really not that complicated. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, I'm going to actually delete this. I'm going to stay in this sheet. I'm going to press insert, pivot table, and I'm just going to select everything. So it's really important that you do what I just did and select all the columns. That's vital that you do that, because if more data gets entered in there, it won't pull it all. So I'm going to press OK. And then I'm going to create it into a new sheet. And from there, I'm going to press X on this. And I'm going to start editing the data here. And I'm going to start as a row. I'm going to put in the date. As a column, I'm going to put in the product's name. So another row, I'm going to put product name in there. And then as a value, I'm going to put the quantity in order total. Okay, so basically it's going to be aggregating in that way, but this is where pivot tables are useful. So what you can do is I can actually group them in a particular way that makes it useful to go from there. So what you have to do is you actually have to set both of these. I always forget which one, but you set one of these to actually have the format of a date here. So you go number, format, number, date, make that a date. And then you have to go to this one, and you make this a date. And one of those will end up working. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to actually click on the date itself right here. You're going to right click, and you're going to go to Create Pivot Date Group. And you can do it however you want, by month, by quarter, by year, or whatever it may be. So if you're doing a sales report or whatever it may be, and you want to have one by month, one by year, and whatever it may be, you can actually click this, and you can see your overall sales for either on a particular product level. And let's say you say, Victor, I only want to have the overall quantity of overall orders and the order total per month. Then what you can do is all you have to do is delete the product name. It's that easy. So now you have your overall orders of January, your overall orders total for as revenue wise, and you have it for November, December, and things like that. It's that easy. Like in most Amazon sellers, they have to pull out all this information, pull it and copy and paste and everything else. No, you don't have to do that. All you have to do is paste in this data, this granular data from Power My Analytics, and then from a pivot table, you can aggregate this however you want. So if you want the overall order quantities that just like this, and you want to organize it by month, you can do it like that. Or you can do it by quarter, and you can have it based off what you want by quarter. And if you're trying to do a sales report there, or you can do it by the day of the month, or you can do literally there's so many options that you can do. Or you can see what day of the week are you getting most of your sales? Based off of this, it looks like most of the sales come on Monday. You can aggregate this data in literally a million different ways to have different reports. But it really comes down to how you want to do it. And there's a lot of really interesting data here that you could kind of play around with. So start like just doing that alone, you'll be able to see all that. And if you ever wanted to add in more granular data, you can see what product is going to be doing the best on a particular month. Whatever it may be, you'll have that at your availability, and you'll have a lot more customizability than Data Studio. So here, you'll be able to kind of see it, but there's not much playing with it. Like, you're not going to be able to do too much. You can, but it's a little bit more difficult. That's all. Within a Google Sheet, you can literally play around with it as much as humanly possible. You can have 14 different pivot tables, one by day of the month, one by product, by everything. And you can have a master Google Sheet and play around with all this data. And it's also really important to mention on the Power My Analytics side that you can actually schedule this report. You can go to schedule refresh here, and what you can do is you can do a daily schedule refresh at a specific time, and after that, and you can even send the email with the reports, and you can send it on the Google Data Studio side too as well. So you can actually click this arrow up here, schedule email delivery, and you can actually send this report in an email going from here, from Google Data Studio, and do it for Google My Analytics. And you can schedule all those out and kind of get that going. So it's that easy, and it'll automatically refresh at 7 o'clock every single day. So it's amazing stuff. Okay, guys, that covers most of everything. So now you'll be able to pull in all your Amazon order product data and from Google Data Studio, and also on the Google Sheet side of things. And it's important to note that you won't be able to get Amazon advertising data to this date. Power My Analytics is working on it, but there is no Amazon advertising data to this date, but it still will pull in all the orders of that Amazon advertising data, but it just won't pull in the cost information like the advertising spend and things like that to this date. So you'll have to get that manually right now, but they're working on getting that fulfilled for you. And let me know if you have any other questions, and all the templates below will be available to you that you can use at your disposal. And just let me know if you have any questions. And thank you guys for watching. Thanks.